In this video from Reports Your Way, we are going to show how to create dynamic periods in financial reports using JET reports. Financial reports typically report on budget, actual, variance, and variance percent. One approach to the report is to set up all 12 periods and have JET formulas in place for each period. This works, but it also makes JET work harder than it needs to, and it's not optimizing performance. Plus, one little change in a formula, and you have to be careful that all formulas reflect that change. Let's simplify it and optimize performance by having JET dynamically generate those columns according to the number of periods in the date range. In our report, we have our GL account numbers dynamically generated using a technique we described in our video, Stop Using Conditional Hides for Financials. We also have our date range set up. Now we lay out our column headings for actual, budget, variance, and variance percent. Before we start adding in formulas to generate the numbers, let's get the columns to dynamically generate according to the date range. In a cell above the actual, we will use NL columns and NP dates. Since we have 4 columns we are reporting on, we will set the columns equal to 4. That tells JET there's a pattern to be repeated that includes these 4 columns. We will use NP dates as the table. For the NP dates, we simply point to the first date, making sure we lock it in with an absolute reference of a $sign in front of both the column and the row reference. We do the same for the end date. Now we need to select the period type. For this report, we will use month. Note that the report could also have been by year, quarter, week, or even day. This will return the serial number for the start date. We just need to use Excel to show the short date format. Below that cell, let's use Excel's end of month function to get the end date, making sure that that cell is also formatted with the short date format. Above our columns, it would be nice to display the month we are reporting on. Let's use Excel's text function to do that. In the first parameter, we need to point to one of the dates, and in the second parameter, we need to specify what we want. We want the month, so if we use quote MMM, we will get the first 3 letters of the month. Alternatively, we could use 4 M's to get the full name of the month. Excel's help will give you more info on how to use the text function. We can also use Excel's Merge and Center feature to center it over the columns and add some formatting to make it stand out. If we run the report now, we will see the months in the date range appear across the page and each group titled by month. Now we just need to add JET functions for budget and actual, being careful to point to the date range and locking in only on the rows and not the columns. Lastly, we need to use Excel to calculate the budget variance, being mindful whether the variance should be positive, favorable, or minus, unfavorable. For the percent calculation, we need to use Excel's if error for situations where there is no budget. We cannot divide by 0, and without this function, Excel would return the message #div/0 to remind us of this in those instances. We want to just show 0 instead of the error message. When we run the report, we see the computed values in columns for each month during our specified period. Join us for our video on working with SUMIF to find out how we can dynamically total those columns. Until then, thank you for watching.